Wow. Weaver John C. It's March 30th, 2020. It's 12:52 p.m. This is a little after that the Falcon 9 SpaceX ship launched from NASA a half hour ago, roughly. And it was beautiful. Longer than an hour's worth of taping of just a waiting portion of it, and then there's the rest of it is just a space launch and then the reactions of it. I hadn't felt this excited over a launch in decades. I was saddened when the last little space shuttles launched, and I watched that one. I wish I had it recorded for posterity. Sometimes I wish I had a video camera that'd be taped to television, and the first space shuttle would go up for posterity, and then tape my reaction to it. But I don't have that. So what I do have is, besides the summertime itches again. Sorry, I'm an old fart. I'm dealing with a lot of situations at this point over here, but this was important today. I didn't think they'd be doing it a second time. I thought the weather would be knocking their butts out. I was looking at the weather reports. I was looking at the weather maps. I'm like, are they even going to launch? I mean, are they going to be able to try? Is this going to be another forestallment for the next 2 or 3 more days? And then after that, it says, the weather said yes. The guys over at the weather, at Space Weather. There's an Air Force unit that deals strictly with weather. It's a weather unit. They have it attached for several decades since the Mercury astronauts. Hell, longer than that. A lot longer than that. A lot longer than that. And they helped with every launch window. They had to make sure that the launch windows were acceptable, the winds were marginal, and they were able to launch, despite the fact that they would have clouds in the air, as long as they weren't going to be able to affect the ship in any way, shape, or form, until we had for Apollo 12 and the damn lightning strike. But she survived, and she went in orbit, and she did her job. They were hoping it wouldn't happen here. They had to wait for the atmospheric conditions to be just right, so they were able to get the ship launched. And oh my God, she was beautiful. Oh my God, she was beautiful. I mean, yeah, I've heard about Elon Musk, and I thought this damn thing originally was a fool and an idiot thing. I originally thought it was still a fool and idiot. But I had to take in consideration that, what if? Oh, hell, there goes my damn thought again. Give me 1 second. I gotta chase it back. I know I lost my thought on this one. Sorry about that. This happens when you have dogs and they take up your time. And some things I have to make sure that she's all right with. When Elon Musk proposed that he was going to be launching the first commercial, a lot of people were going, yay. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. But I didn't think it was really going to make it, But I kept thinking, there has to be a first step. There has to be a first step somehow. Because the first step we're talking about right now is commercialism. We writers had created different scenarios throughout the centuries. Longer than that, of men trying to reach the outer limits. Outer limits of our own exploration. Beyond the atmosphere. Beyond the moon. Beyond the stars. Beyond the galaxies. We still hold that. Beyond dimensions. Beyond time and space. Beyond everything. The power of imagination. And it takes steps to do this. And the steps, one of them we have to keep taking, is the one that goes out into space. And it doesn't have to be government sponsored. It can't be government sponsored. It has to be commercial. It's got to be private citizens. It's got to be companies that create ships. Now, in different genres, there are back histories left and right. Alternative histories, explanations, backgrounds to add more flavor to the genre. And what writers have done, have tried to create where these things have come from, all these ships and stuff. Star Wars. Star Wars in its vast million-year history, or maybe longer than that, of its constant struggle in the planets for a galaxy domination. And it still hasn't happened. And every empire tries to adapt itself, and then there you have the power of the Force and stuff. But in one particular section, and one particular epoch of the galaxy's history, a minor fluctuation in a billion-year galaxy that's probably still too young in its infinite universe, but dealing with everything else in a small epoch of a civilization. There are corporations out there that create spaceships. They're not making history, they're just making spaceships. There was no recordings of the first time things like that happened. So, this is the first time for this to happen. This is the first time that any of this has happened. This is the most incredible damn thing ever. This is a day that a civilian craft, not made by government, not made by military, by civilian contract, in order to transport people into space safely. And they did, and they launched. They launched. Despite the tragedy happening regarding a damn epidemic we got going on, a pandemic, and another epidemic of not again demonstrations over a death of George Floyd in different areas in different parts of but the unrest, the feelings of anger, of hatred, of frustration, of rage, of uselessness, of trying to take back power, control over their lives one way or another. One tries to understand the motives for this thing, but it always takes one spark. One guy dies under a cop's knees, a former cop's knees. George Floyd dies, and everything else goes hell in a handbasket in the entire country. And with all this anger happening at this point over here, all this anger, and it's these people are not even following up. These people don't even care that something happened, something extraordinary happened in this history. What history will still be recording at this point over here is what we've got going on, is protest across the country regarding law enforcement versus civilians that they feel. And it's ongoing again. But something special happened right in the midst of it, right in the middle of the damn thing. People are protesting with a lot of anger, a lot of hatred, a lot of fear, a lot of distrust. But what they're not noticing, history just bypassed them completely. They'll look at their records, they'll look at their social medias and say, oh well, who cares? It doesn't happen to me, it doesn't bother me. I'm not there. This is more important right now. This standing around and trying to protest to people, trying to tell people that this is more important than anything else, that George Floyd is more important than Elon Musk. And they'd be correct to a point. One would think that all of this would be just a stepping stone for the elite and the rich and the powerful to get their hands in space and live in space while the rest of us die out here. A movie called Elysium. And its plot was the rich stay in space and the poor work their asses off for the rich on Earth and dying by the millions. But they don't care in space. They're happy. They're content. They got everything they need. But to depend upon down below. Well, I wonder if that's the same mentality here. Because I'm looking at it right now like that. I mean, this has been the most... 2020 has been the most epoch time in our history, in my lifetime, that I can remember that several things happening at the same time, besides gunshots happening, besides politicians going crazy at this point over here, besides 25th Amendment being evoked at this point over here, besides having a disease ravaging the planet like crazy. Actually, I think that was last year we had the 25th Amendment, or close to it anyway. And this is a time for politics to really go crazy at this point over here. And this, with the death of one man. Okay, we'll say it, one black man. But he was important. He was a family man. He was a businessman. He was a guy that cared about his community. And the community shows. But the way he died, everyone just went nuts. Because they felt like the cops are versus the civilians. And they have to prove. They have to show it out. I mean, they got to demonstrate their feelings left and right. Peaceful protest is one thing when they've got an area blocked off and they can actually do it. Is when they start taking over a city at night and start terrifying the residents and everybody else and burning things down left and right, destroying communities left and right, livelihoods, jobs, families, all because of their anger. And they can't see past it. They can't see past it. Things happening beyond them and they don't even notice it. They don't care to notice. They don't want to notice. Because this is going well beyond anything. They just don't understand. They don't want to understand. They don't care to understand. And this is going to continue on. And what are we going to do in the meantime? I haven't a clue. Not one damn clue. I don't know what the answers are. We keep trying, we keep saying we're going to find answers to everything, but we haven't. But something of a business, commercial, possibly civilian thing in history that happened, and all I see on the screens, that one bit of joy, that one bit of hope for humanity, covered over because we have COVID and we also have protests, we have hatred. What I waited for at this point is all those other white nationalists and everything else promoting hate, violence to go in there and start doing shit. Or trying to egg shit on. It would really make it more poignant, wouldn't you think? Pain in I understand the frustration levels, but come on. Government's got the point. Government's got the point. When you sit in the National Guard and you do a martial law in a town, and you still get it burned, I don't think anybody's paying attention. I don't think anybody cares to pay attention. My time, my lifetime. It was bad enough I kept seeing shootings happening. In my later in life, from 30s onward, or a little earlier than that, I never thought I'd be terrified of mobs, but I also thought I'd never be more terrified than my own countrymen trying to kill me because of mental instability. That's the only thing I could say at this point over here is mentally unstable. And looking at this, it's mentally unstable. I understand the frustration level at this point over here. But when you start destroying towns, when you start destroying lives, what the hell is that? What the hell does that mean? I don't get it. I don't understand it. Why? We had 2 astronauts in a commercial ship made in America without any foreign help to get Americans and whatever people we can up in space and maybe do some space tourism. Yes, it's business. Is it good for everybody else? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But at this point, is anything else worth it? We're going to have other companies, other major corporations. They've lost the race of getting the first man. Well, actually, I'll take that back. Branson and his Galactic Virgin Airlines. They had taken over a company that was based out in Mojave. And Skilled Composites. Skilled Composites. They had launched the first ship, civilian ship, into space and feathered it down as a test. Branson sees an idea, gets the damn idea bought. He's trying to get a lot of people now for it. But one guy already made it. Skilled Composites got their name in history as the name Rutan. I remember the Rutans. One guy with a major aerospace corporation, both pilots, and the other guy flew Voyager back in the late 80s, all around the world, solar paneled. It was the most daring thing done. And nobody thought of it. Nobody thought of the significance of this. The Skilled Composites make a lot of specialty aircraft that people are flying even around in my neighborhood. This is aerospace country out here in the desert. Planes are commonplace. At least the smaller ones anyway. But what Branson wanted to do was get his commercial operation going. He tried to perfect a lot of things he did, and he moved his operation even further to New Mexico to continue. Any other aerospace company out there they may be competing as well. Or maybe other companies trying to get their own people into space. But this one worked with NASA, SpaceX, for over a decade or more. And they finally got it in. They finally got 2 guys in space. And the fun part is whether or not if the ship can dock with the space station and people are able to be transferred in and out, and then the ship is able to land safely with the 2 people. After that, oh my God. What they're showing in Los Angeles right now is downtown Los Angeles covered all over again. Holy shit.
Backed up, also holding Black Lives Matter signs. Now, all of this has been extremely well organized and calm. We haven't seen anything like we saw
Well, is this a Hancock Park?
Los Angeles when there were 533 arrests. All but 18 of those people, by the way, have been released on their own recognizance. We should also note that the LA Fire Department reported...
Where the hell is it at?
So many rubbish fires, and there was damage to LAFD fire hose. But right now, here, it is calm. People expressing their views. I'm going to bring in Cameron. He's one of the people who are in support of the Black Lives Matter campaign. And for you, what is the message that you really want to drive?